fighting sail. Fleet actions during the Napoleonic era. Today we're going to do a big battle, 5 ships on 5 ships. But before we do that, I want to show you something. Terrain. Look at these islands. Aren't these great? Oh, I'm having so much fun with this Age of Sail stuff. I don't know why you jerks didn't tell me this was so much fun earlier. Well, to be fair, Wiley Games, over there at Wiley Games, they got a great channel. They kind of peer pressured me into taking up Age of Sail. And I'm really glad they did, because I'm a better man for it. If you're going to peer pressure people, use your powers for good, like Wiley Games, never for evil. So there we go. I'm going to get right down to the tabletop level so you can see how tall these are. And these little terrain items, so there's the edge of the table. There's a first rate from Tumbling Dice. Looking good. And then I even went ahead and, let me get the ship. He's going to hang out back here. You know, one of these has just a cliff. They do block line of sight, and of course, if you hit them, you're going to run aground. These are not shallows. If you hit them, bruh. So the way this works is when you run into it, you make a sailing check, and if you pass, you kind of glance off immediately. If you fail, bang, 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 3 anchor tokens. I got a total of 6 of these. Now that you've seen them up close, so they're very easy. It's just a little piece of wood. I took an angle grinder or a belt sander, and all right, we got to change this angle here. I just gouged out shapes. This was originally like an egg shape, and then I just kind of gouged it out. It's just like, I don't know, 5 mil wood. And then I used foam core. It comes in 10 millimeter thicknesses, and I just sliced that to fit. I covered it in sand. You can actually see the sand here on the beach. Let me zoom right in there. Yeah, see the beach sand that makes up the beach? Doesn't look so hot up close, but once you get it down on the table, it says beach. And in fact, the same thing is true of these houses, which are just little 5 millimeter pieces of balsa wood. See, I made a church. You gotta have a church, man, right? You gotta have a church. You know, cut, painted to fit. Little window there. There's Mrs. Meltzer. Everybody wave. Hi, Mrs. Meltzer. You can kind of see her in there. And then I covered it. Now, the other thing I should point out is I covered it with static grass, and this goes on the edge of the table. So here I can have a little peninsula sticking out way over there. And I was a little nervous when I coated it, because after I got them all painted up with the brown, I thought, man, this static grass is going to look really terrible up close. You know, in these houses, like here's another little village, just to add a splash of color. And if you look at it like this close, so here's what we're going to do. When we play this game, we're not going to look at it this close, okay? We're only going to look at it from a distance. Because, oh, that grass looks so high. But one of my Twitter bros, he said, you know, it's kind of translucent, and it gives you that nice velvety look. It looks like an island. And then, like I said, I have 2 straight cuts. I can put them together. So, if we bring our camera up, I can lay down, and we're going to do this today. I can throw down a bunch of islands. Alternatively, I can put these 2 islands, and I can say, look, I've got the mouth of a river, and I can just declare one edge of the table as land, and I actually have a little bit of that land sticking out. So let's go ahead and take a look at the ships that we're going to be participating in today's little shindig. Wanted to try an asymmetric battle here. So those of you that are familiar with the fighting sail, they give you force lists. The white ships were built using the British list, and the black sails were built using the French list. The British are going to be coming in with a first-rate flagship with a marksman. He gets to reroll his gunnery dice that come up ones. A third-rate, who is a disciplinarian, so he can reroll his disciplinarian dice. 2 fifth-rate and a 6th-rate. These are grouped as a squadron, and that is worth a total of 233 points. 223. For a total morale of 22 points. The French fleet is also built on 225 points. You've got a 4th-rate, 2 3rd-rates, and then a squadron of 2 5th-rates. Point-wise, they're about the same, but as you can see, we've got 3 ships of the line with a couple of supporting, 2 ships of the line, but one of these ships of the line is a big boy. I don't know how that's going to affect tactics. Still kind of new at this, so cut me some slack if I'm doing things dumb. Here you see our British have elected to put their flagship and their 3rd-rate ship down here on the starboard, with the squadron of frigates up there. The French have also matched them. I did put down 1 ship at a time. The French have their 3 ships of the line over here. We need to figure out who the attacker is. Who has the initiative, rather. Black sails for the French fleet with the black sails. So the French are the attacker. They have the initiative in the first turn. Then we're going to take a look at the chart on page... what page is it in the rule book? Help me out here, guys. Hey, comment section, you're taking too long. It's page 57 in the rule book. Has a little chart. On a 1 through 4, they tell you on a 5, the defender gets to decide which way the wind is blowing. Well, the defender obviously is going to choose that direction because they want the weather gauge. And this, actually, I think they're going to pick this. It's going this way. Is that what we want? No, we want to go this way because it makes things easier for me. The British were able to consolidate their forces. They're taking advantage of that weather gauge. The French, for their part, these guys didn't roll a single 6 among them, so they're stuck right where they're at. They're in irons, unfortunately. These two guys, likewise, they're able to kind of scoot up, and they may get up here to try to hold those guys back until the big guns can get in. We're not sure. That is the end of turn 1. Nobody is within shooting range. 18 inches is shooting range. So you can see it's going to be until we get about like that, which means we have to roll for initiative. Now, if these are tied, there's a chance that the weather changes. 6 and a 5. The British now have the initiative, and I can show you how these guys move real quick. That flagship is going to roll 3 dice, and he is... What's he doing? If we put this down, because the wind is coming from this direction, he's going to be reaching now. In fact, they tried to... I tend to put them right on the line. Sometimes it gets a little hard to tell whether they're reaching or running. They're a little bit less than 45 degrees. We're going to call that running still, which makes a difference in how you turn. But anyway, with 3 dice, he's only going to get to move once. He's a bit of a slow poke, this one, and he's just going to keep on his heading as long as he can. We get 4 dice over here for this third-rate ship, and he's going to get 2, so he will take advantage of that to get out ahead of his boss man. And then we got 3 ships over here, which are going to roll 6 dice for the 5s and 7 for the 6. I guess, I have a nice little tray. I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of it. And I'm going to show you. It's 5, 5. So he gets 3 successes. He gets 2 successes. And the little guy in the back gets a lot of successes. 2, 4, 5. So what do we say? It was 3, 4, and 5, right? So we'll go 1, 2, 3. It's 2 inches for every sailing point. 1. And he's got 4, so he's going to go 2, 3, and then at that point he can turn up to 30 degrees, and then we'll go 4 to right there. And he's got 5 sailing points back here. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he'll turn the 30 degrees and slide through to here. But we're going to keep it just a little bit less so that we can maintain that sailing, maintain the reaching. If he cuts it back, he's going to be in irons. So we're going to keep him just barely reaching. And because the wind is coming from this direction, for 1 point, you can turn 90 degrees towards the wind. If you're tacking, if you're turning towards the wind 90 degrees, it costs 2 points. If you're turning away, it only costs 1. So it's going to give these guys a lot more maneuverability. On this side, it's going to be 6 dice for the fourth raider. They, theoretically, in an even fight, these guys would be a lot more maneuverable. The fact that they got caught with their pants down is bad news. Again, no 6s. These guys are going to roll 5 dice. So this guy is going to get to move twice, and then this one will get to move once. That's better than nothing, because at least it's going to give him an opportunity to move once. And then I should probably do it this way because he wants to protect his flagship twice. And then we are going to go ahead and turn so that we are no longer in irons and he'll be able to move on the 5s next time. Oh, except, you know what? This guy does not get that other move, does he? I forgot where he was to start. So I'm only going to let this guy move once. And then likewise, he's going to take advantage and he's going to turn Whole different challenge over here. Now these guys have a sailing of. You know what else I'm forgetting here? These guys have navigators. They can reroll the ones. We'll have to remember that going forward. These guys are going to be moving on 5s, so the first one doesn't move at all, and the second one is moving on 5s and 6s. He at least gets 2, so he can pull up 1 and 2, and at least he gets to stay near his buddy. That is the end of turn number 2. We'll roll for initiative on turn number 3. French get to go. Same, second verse, same as the first. Gonna roll 6 dice for the flagship. Oh, he finally got his 1 sailing point. Thank goodness for that. So he can move his 2 inches, and then he's gonna turn so that he is now reaching, and next turn he'll be able to move on the 5s. Then he's going to roll 5 dice, re-rolling 1s, which he didn't get any. He doesn't move at all. He's going to roll 5 dice, re-rolling 1s. So we can re-roll that, and at least he gets the 1. So he's going to come up to here. And then over here we got these guys who are going to roll lots of dice, moving on 5s and 6s. The first one is going to have 1. And then let's go ahead and turn him to scoot along this island. 2 and 3. And his backup is going to have a total of 1, 2, 3 dice. So he's quite the salesman. 1, 2, and 3 to there. And we're going to turn him out just a little bit more. Flagship, 3 dice. He's only going to get to move the 1 time, but I think that's all he needs. 1 time to there. And he's done. His third rate, going to get to roll 4 times. He's going to get 2 successes. And he'll use 1 to come up to here, and then we're going to start putting some distance. He's going to turn. He's going to come up. Don't move, Island. He's going to come up to here, and he's going to turn this way. British have a chance to defeat these guys piecemeal. Why wouldn't they do that? We got 2 5th raters up here. This is the 6th rate. We're going to move him first. That's going to require 7 dice. Moving on the 4s and 5s. So this is where the reaching comes into play versus running. He can move up the 2 inches, and then he can turn up to 90 degrees. That's his first move. And then his second move will be to here, and he'll kind of hug the shoreline. And his third move will be to here, and again, he's just going to hug that shore, hoping that his buddies can come around and help him out as these 3 zip up to deal with those 2. 6 dice, so we're rolling for this guy first. He's going to get a lot of moves, isn't he? He's reaching, so he's going to be able to move. And I got to put the... Fortunately, I'm very clever, and I always want to turn. 1, 2, 3, 4... That's going to be the range, so we're going to bring him up to there, just about. You know what? Let's turn him back around this way. That way he's going to be firing and kind of crossing the T. This guy, if he fires... Oh, they have to fire as a squadron, though, don't they? He's only going to get 3 moves, and we got to move... Oh, yeah. Okay, so what we can do with him is... That's why this 90 degrees comes in handy. 1, 2, 3, and then, so he's still tacking. He can turn 90 degrees, and he can come around this way. That's pretty good. So now these 3 guys are all within 6 inches of each other. Maybe you don't believe me. 5, 5. shot so they can combine fire. And once they've dealt with these guys, they can actually lend their fire support to either of these guys. We are all done with the movement. Oh, no, we're not. They still have to move. Well, they still have to take an opportunity to try to move. That's why that was so easy. I wondered. We're going to start with those 5th raiders over there. They are going to get 7 dice to see how far they move. They're only going to move on 5, so this first guy is only going to get to move 2 inches, but that's enough to at least get him to here. And he can kind of turn so he can share broadsides. And then the second guy is also going to get, well, 3 moves. That ain't bad. That's not bad at all. Let's move him up 1, 2, and then we'll turn him. But he's turning into the wind. So if we want to turn him to 90 like that, which we do, I think that's what we want to do. So he's still reaching. At least he's not in irons. He can move. Then he can turn. He can use his second move, but that's going to cost 2 points. And that's it. I think let's try and get up ahead as far as we can. We'll move him right there. I think that's pretty good. That's far enough for him. Then we're going to see if we can finally get our 4th raider moving. Remember, he's rolling 6 dice, moving on 5s and 6s. He's only going to get 1 move, but that is his second move of the game, isn't it? And he's turning into the wind still, so all he can do is move up 2 inches. Boobala. Oh my gosh. And then the 30-degree turn. Yeah, that's going to be a problem for him, isn't it? At least his 3rd raiders have a little bit more. So this guy's going to get to move twice, and this guy's going to get to move not at all. Oh boy. So exciting. You got to move the 2 inches to start. And then put that back there. We'll move him to the 30. Now we're going to turn him the full 90 to keep him out of irons and presenting that nice big broadside. Because it's time for some shooty. Unfortunately for the British, they are not in any position to fire just yet. They have been so concerned with zipping up and closing the range that they don't have anybody in the fire arc. He probably could shoot at one of those guys, except that his 3rd rate is in the way. Can you get out of the way, please? These 3 guys are not in any position to combine fire either. As you can see, he can shoot at this ship, he can shoot at that one, and he can shoot over here at the long range. And that's what we're going to start with. This little 6th raider is going to take a pot shot at him. Hitting on 5s, he gets 1 hit. That French 3rd raider is going to roll 7 dice, hoping for a single 4 to no effect. Then he has got a gunnery skill of 4. And he's going to be hitting on... Now, this is one where we got to check the range. Is that 6 inches? He is within 6 inches, so those 5s are exploding. So he does a total of 2 hits. 3 hits all together. 3 hits at that ship, who has a total hull of 3. Looking for 4 ups. He only blocks 1 of them. And with 2 damage, he's shaken. He gets an anchor token. Not only is he in irons, now he's shaken, and then does he have a shot? He does not. Okay, but on the flip side, okay. We're gonna do the French shooting now. He's gonna fire at this ship, which is less than 6 inches away, hitting on 3s, rolling for a gunnery skill of 3. He's gonna get 3 hits. Plus another hit. So that's 4 hits altogether against a ship with 4. So 3 versus 3 blocks for no damage. Then we're going to have the same thing over here. Gunnery skill of 4. Did I get that right? I got that wrong. Gunnery skill of 3. 2 hits total versus a hull of 4. Blocking the 2, so nothing doing over there. And then we've got... This guy has an open shot, and he's the only one that is. And who can he shoot at is the question. This is his line of sight. He's only going to be able to shoot at this guy. And to find out if he's crossed his T, we put this down like this. And it's going to be close. I'm going to need to draw a straight edge along this line to show you that it does not. The center mast is outside. It's to that side of the line, so it does not cross the T. But he's shooting at long distance, so he's only going to be hitting on 5s. That third rater does have a gunnery skill of 7, looking for 5-ups. He's going to get a total of 2 hits against the capital ship, who has a hull of 10. Okay, 2 hits, did we say? Against, we're going to roll all 7 of these. And then we get our 2 blocks already, so that's the end of the turn. Nobody else has any shooting that they can do, no other line of sight. The islands are kind of directing things in ways. They're limiting the mobility, so they are having some effect. Also, they just look so good out there, don't they? It's time to roll for initiative. Where's my initiative? There we go. High score. Nope. British get to go again. All right, so the British have a chance to clear up their line of sight. We're going to start with the flagship as usual. And he's going to get a total of 2 movements. So we'll use the first one to come up 2 inches, and we're turning into the wind with the wind. We are wearing up to 90 degrees away, so he can turn like so. That's his first point. And then we're going to use the second point to come up to here and turn just a little bit like that. We got to give him some room to maneuver too, don't we? Then, in fact, the third rate is going to move next. He's going to roll his 4 sailing dice. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to get a total of 4 movement. That's pretty good. 1, 2, 3. He's going to turn, and then his 4th is going to put him here, and he's going to turn like so, daring those guys to get out of his way. That might be a little bit of a problem for him, but he's a pretty nimble little minx, so we're not going to worry too much about it. We're going to move right on to our 5th raiders. This one first. He's got 6 dice. Hitting on 4s, he's going to get to move 3 times. So he's got to move once to start, and then we'll turn him 90 degrees. He can move twice. And I think we're going to move. Should we move him the 3rd time? I'm just going to move him up a little bit. You don't have to use all of your movement, but you have to move 2 inches between turns. So he's good right there. And then he's going to have the option of being able to swing around here and help out. But he's also blocked. The island blocks line of sight, so he doesn't have to worry about getting tagged. This guy is going to move next. Hitting on 4s, he gets a total of 3 movement. So we'll move him 1 to here, 2 down to here, and then we'll turn him just that 30 degrees. And then we'll bring him up to there, and he's done. And then our little guy down here with the 7 dice. Little Mr. 6th rate. Come on, Mr. 6, I believe in you. He gets 2, 4, 6 sailing points. So he's going to come 1 and turn a little bit. 2, he'll turn the 90. 3 to here. Turn 30 degrees. 4 to there. And we'll turn him like so, and then we'll just kind of bring him up to there so he's not blocking a line of sight. So now our guys are looking pretty good. We got this whole area scoped out. We may be able to take out those 2 ships on this turn. We haven't done any... Oh, you know what we did do, though? We did do 1 point of damage to the French fleet. So their morale should be dropped from 22 to 21. That anchor guy. Now, speaking of that anchor guy, let's see what happens with him. He has, he's going to have to roll for in irons. He's only moving on 6s. He does have 7 sailing dice. Moving on 6s. 2 moves. Not bad. That's going to allow him to slip away 1 and 2. Oh, didn't quite make it. Now he's got to make that discipline check. And that is only 4 dice. He needs a 6. I can never remember. Is that discipline or is it sailing check? Either way, he gets rid of the anchor. But he's sailed right into the guns of the third raider. That could be a problem. Anchor tokens. If you don't move 2 inches during your sailing phase, you get an anchor token. Oh. After it moves by passing a discipline check. Yeah, I should be throwing a lot more anchor tokens down here, shouldn't I? You don't. I got to remember that. It wasn't under the movement phase. It was under the anchor phase. So if anything, these French guys are scrambling around, trying to get ready, and it's just not working out so hot. We do have to move this guy now, who has 7 movement dice. Sailing dice is 7. He's going to be hitting on 5s and 6s. 2, 4, 6 whole moves. That's pretty good. So he's not going to waste any time. He's gonna move up the 2 inches to here. Turn 30 degrees. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we'll rotate him like that. And then 6 puts him... He's going to stop right there. That should be safe. Yeah, see, he's outside the arc of the big guy. And none of these guys can get him. So he does have an opportunity to have some fun on the next turn. And he's at least safe for now. He has kind of left that guy hanging high and dry. What are you going to do? Down here, our French flagship is going to roll his 6 sailing dice. And he's going to get a total of 3 movement. Remember, he is in irons. So he finally has an opportunity to move, and he's going to take full advantage. 1, 2, and then he'll turn. Oh, you know, we're going to bring him back. He's going to turn that 30 degrees. He'll move up. He'll turn the 30 degrees. And then he'll move up. And he'll turn that last 30 degrees like that to put him out of irons. And hopefully he's got a shot right there, does he? Not quite. And is he in the guns? Yeah, he's got a problem. But at least he's moving on the 5s next turn. Then this ship is going to roll 5 sailing dice, re-rolling 1s, which he's got a couple of them. And he gets a total of 3 movement. So he can go 1, turn a little bit, 2, turn a little bit, and then 3 to there. And I don't know if he has a shot at that flagship either. He probably should have come wide and then come up. Too late now. And then this guy is looking for 5s and 6s. He gets a grand, but he rerolls 1s. So he gets a total of 1 movement. And it's going to look a little something like this. He's just barely going to. But they're not in irons this time because they all moved at least 2 inches. On the turns where you don't get at least 1 movement, I should be dropping anchor tokens. All right, we tightened it up. The British first rate is going to get to fire first. He's firing over here with a total of 10 dice. Then I have, but he's going to get some support from him. He can also fire over here and lend his 1 shot. That's the black die. This one you got to take. They're all hitting on 5s. They're all hitting on 4s. The 6 are exploding dice. For all of them, they're the same range, same distance. Hitting on 4s, 6 explode. We're only going to get a total of 3 hits out of the first, But the first rate can re-roll his ones. So we're going to re-roll those. So we get a total of 4 hits, plus, if we can get one more out of this guy, we cannot. So it's a total of 4 hits on the French flagship, who has a hull of 5, and he has a solid hull, so he re-rolls his ones. So those 4 hits get knocked down to 1 hit, which is going to give him disrupted. He gets an anchor token. All that shooting. Then on the other side, his little motion, this little French 6th rate, managed to avoid most of these guns. He is in the range of this guy and this guy. So we have another situation where we're going to have our 3rd rate with 7 dice combining with 3 additional dice for this guy who can shoot over there. They are all within 6 inches. They're going to hit on 3s with re-rolling the 5s. These do not get re-rolled. So on our initial roll, it's 3, 6, 7 hits, and then we got to add in the results of these 3 dice. So 7 plus, hitting on 3s, it's going to be a total of 9 altogether. That 5th rate only gets to roll 3 hull dice. So 9 minus 2 is 7 dice, and that's going to sink him. We'll grab our shipwreck, and he goes down under the guns of the ship of the line. That does 2 things. The 5th rate has a hull of 3, so it's going to reduce the morale by 3 for the 3 hits, plus 3 for the sinking. The French fleet morale drops to 15 altogether, but they now have an opportunity for some revenge. Checking our lines of sight, you can see here, this guy, we're going to have to bring out our straight edge, does have a shot on the flagship, as does the French flagship. Oh, I'm sorry, the French flagship does not. But he does. And then, who else? He doesn't have a shot at anybody either. So the one shot that the French can take is this 3rd rater firing all 7 guns at the British flagship. And he is at a distance of 10 inches. So he's hitting on 4s, exploding on 6s. He gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits with the possibility of an additional. So 5, 6 hits altogether. The British flagship is going to get to roll 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 dice for his hull. He's taken 6 hits. He can survive this, but not with a roll like that. He is only going to save 3 of those hits, and with 3 blamage, his morale goes down to 19, and the ship has taken light damage. He takes a damage token and an anchor token. So look at this. I went ahead and glued these together. That flagship now gets a nice little floating damage marker that's going to follow him around everywhere he goes. And then that is, I think, the end of the turn, isn't it? We do, yep, initiative, sailing, cannon. Now, he's not going to be able to remove the anchor token until he deals with this damage. Let's find out who's got the initiative on this turn. It's going to be the British. He can... We're going to start with the flagship, as per usual. He's only got 3 sailing dice, but there's a chance he may be able to get to safety. He does not. He already has the anchor token, so he's not going to move at all because of that. But he can make a discipline check now, and he gets to roll a whopping 8 dice, looking for any 6s. He got it, so that means the damage goes bye-bye. But he's still stuck with the anchor token next turn. Then we're going to roll for the 3rd-rate ship. Only 4 dice for him. He is now close-hauled. So he only moves on a 5 or a 6. He's only going to get to move the 1 time. And he has to move 2 inches if he doesn't want to get stuck. But if he's turning away from the wind, he can turn that 90 degrees. Well, not quite. He wants to avoid this wreckage, so that's as far as he can turn. The wind is blowing this way, so he's turning away from the wind. Then we've got a couple of little guys who are going to be able to do some circling, and it's going to be 6 dice for him. Moving on, 4s, is it? Yeah, he's definitely moving on 4. So 1, 2, 3 sailing dice for him. He's going to slide up to here and then turn 90 degrees. 1, 2, turn a little bit, and 3. And then we'll roll for this guy, because we want to know how much support oh, you know what? We're not going to turn him that far. We're going to leave him, actually, we're going to turn him like that, because we want to, because if he moves, we want to be able to get these guys in a position to do something about it. Moving on 4, so he's just going to go, he's just going to scoot 8 inches ahead. We'll use a ruler for this one, kind of speed things up a little bit. We'll move him 6 to here, turn him just a little bit, and then move him 2 more inches to there. Scooting right across that shoal, and then this last guy is going to have 6 dice. He's going to get to move 3 times. We'll move him 2 inches to here, turn him up just a little bit, and then he can move a total of 4 inches to there. And that's about as close as he can get. So he does have a narrow path to shoot through here, which is going to cause some problems for him. And I think that's it for the British. Then the French are going to move, and we'll start with the flagship, as we usually do. 6 dice, much more maneuverable. He's in irons. Oh, hey, careful there, see. Oh, he's got a little rough there. He does have a discipline of 6, trying to get rid of that anchor. He does, with the single result of a 6. Then he's going to go with his sailing dice of 5, re-rolling 1s. He gets just 1 result. We're going to move him up to here and then turn around the coast. This guy down here is, man, he's in iron still. At least he gets his 6. So, oh, baby. What do? You move up and then you turn to suit, because he's going to have to deal with these guys back here. He was really hoping for 1 more success so he could get around and start lighting these guys up. If we can sink all 3 of those ships, that'd be a long way towards the French meeting their victory conditions. I think this is a really great example of how well this game works. The British get to go first. Here's what our shooting looks like. He's going to take a shot at the flagship. He is also going to take a shot at the flagship, crossing his T. The wreckage blocks his line of sight, blocks this third rate's line of sight from that third rate. He doesn't have any shots. He doesn't have any shots. And then these 2 guys are going to combine fire on the flagship as well. So we got a lot of gunnery to get through. But if we're patient, use our minds, take a step at a time, we can shoot anybody that we want to shoot. Let's start with the flagship. Firing 10 gunnery dice. Rerolling 1s. He's firing here. He is hitting on 4s, exploding on 6s. He gets a total of 3 hits on his original roll. 3 hits plus a 4th hit on the flagship, who has a hull of 5, rerolling 1s. 4 hits versus 1 save versus 4 saves. The 1 hit is going to drop an anchor token. You're not going anywhere, buddy. Then we have a second firing over here, which is beyond 12 inches. That third rate is going to fire 8 dice, and he's only going to hit on 4 ups, but any exploding dice explode. 5 ups, no exploding dice. He does a total of, that's 1 hit. That lowers their morale to 14. The shot from here is going to maybe do 2 damage. Except it's going to be saved by the robust hull. Then we've got these 2 British ships. That is going to be a total of 6 dice. Firing at the French flagship, hitting on 4s, exploding on 6s. Total of 3 hits. Hull of 5, re-rolling 1s. 3 hits versus 1, 2, 3 saves. No damage. So all that British marksmanship didn't do a whole lot of good. Now it's time for the French to return fire. He's going to fire here. Flagship is going to fire at the 6th Raider. So the flagship has a total gunnery of 5, firing at a ship with a hull of 1, and I'm just going to roll them all at once. The damage is going to be hitting on 4-ups. It's going to be 2 damage. No exploding, one of which is saved. So that 6th Raider was just hand-delivered a French present in the form of an anchor die. And the British morale goes down to 18 for that. Then this 3rd Raider is going to fire with a total of 7 guns. Oh, the flagship is a 4th Raider. That's why it doesn't have as many guns. Why is the flagship a 4th rate when there's 2 3rd Raiders poking around? Sentimental value. 7 guns, firing at a hull of 3. The yellow dice are the saves. And we should check our range here. Wait. The flagship fired there. He's firing here. It's further than 6 inches. Hitting on 4s. 6s explode. This one is going to be 1. So that's 2, 4, 5 hits versus 2 saves. For a total of 3 damage, which gives light damage. So 3 hits lowers the morale clock by 3, and it earns him a damage token and an anchor. The British are now down to a morale of 15. And I think that's all the firing we have. He might have a shot at the flagship. Let's check that. Oop, you put this here. Yeah, he's got a shot at the flagship. So that 3rd Raider is going to fire 7 dice. It's going to be a bit of a long shot. He's hitting on 4s, exploding on 6s. He gets a total of 2 hits, 3 hits altogether, versus a hull of 10. So 3 hits, 1, 2, 3 negate. That's the end of the turn. And now we move on to initiative for the next turn. The French get the initiative this time. We'll try to move the flagship first. He's got sailing of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Needing a 6, doesn't get it. Got a discipline of 6. Needing a single 6, he doesn't get it. He's still dead in the water. This 3rd rate is going to have a sailing of 5. Rerolling 1s. Which one? We're moving this one first. He is still moving on 5s. So he gets a total of 3 points. 1, turning just a little bit. 2, turn 2. Wait, where was he at? 2, turning just a little bit. And then he's going to stop right there. Then this guy is going to be, he's still in irons. He's only moving on 6s. But he does get to re-roll these 1s. So he still doesn't move, and he picks up an anchor token. And then this little guy over here, that funny little guy, is going to roll 7 dice. And he is going to be moving on 4s now, so he at least gets to come up 1. We'll turn 30, well, he can turn up to 90, and then we'll move him to here, and we'll turn him back that way. So he's in there to be a little nuisance as best he can. Then the British get to go. And the flagship is going to roll 3 dice. He's in irons. Oh, he moves his 2 inches. What do you know about that? That's discipline for you. And he's going to move up, and he's going to turn 30 degrees. That's the best he can do. Then he's going to make his discipline check. Oh, so disciplined. So well disciplined. He's got to roll all 8. But he gets his 6 with just a 5, so at least the anchor token goes bye-bye. Then this guy is going to roll his 4 dice. So 4 dice for him. He only gets to move 1 time. Well, that's no good. Moving to there, but he is turning away from the wind, so he can at least turn up to 90 degrees. We'll put him right there. And then we're gonna have some 6s and 7s. Let's see where this guy winds up first. He is in irons. He's only gonna get to move once. And he's going to be turning into the wind, so he can just turn like that. Then his discipline is a 4. Looking for 6s. He gets it, so that goes away. He has a sailing of, this 5th rate ship has a sailing of 6. He's in irons. Look at that. Well, he can hustle his way off to safety, can't he? And that's exactly what we're going to do with him. We're going to move him for 6 inches and then turn just a little bit, move 2 more, and that's going to be it, because we want to get rid of that damage token. Remember, his gunnery is halved until that goes away. He's got a discipline of 5, so there's a good chance he can get rid of the damage at least. All right, but he still has that anchor. Then we're going to roll for, this guy is the last ship to move, and he's going to roll 6 dice. And he's going to at least be able to... Oh, man, he can't even get to safety, can he? We'll move him up to 2 inches to there, and we'll turn him just a... Oh, boy. Oh, boy, he's about to get lit. You know, that's a good question. Can he fire off of both broadsides at once? We're going to turn him just a little bit like that. And I think that's it for the movement for this phase. And now it's time for some gunnery. We'll start with this ship over here. The French have the initiative still, so he's going to fire a volley of 7 guns at this ship. And he is close enough that those 6s are going to be exploding. He gets a total of 4 damage on the initial roll, plus an additional 0 damage on the second one. All right, well, hey, 4 damage ain't nothing, and up against a hull of 7, that could do some good. 2 hits altogether get canceled, meaning a damage of 2 shaken. The ship gets an anchor token. If it already has one, it gets a damage token, but it didn't. So there's your anchor token. Then he's going to fire out of his port side battery at this guy, and we're not going to give him the... Are we going to give him the cross T? Oh! Let's find out. We put this here, and it's just outside. He just missed it. That's a tricky one to get. But still, 7 dice... Getting a total of 1, 2, 3 hits with the option for a 4th. Nope, just 3 hits. But he is firing at a guy who's only got 3 saves. So 4 hits, 2 saves, and that's going to be 2 damage. Knocking the British morale down to 11. And the 2 damage shaken gets an anchor token, so he is now stuck there as well. Then we're going to have a broadside here. Both of these guys, these ships, the 3rd and the flagship, are targeting this 6th raider. You know, kind of a pick on your own side kind of thing, except they don't have any other shots. That is literally the only shot they've got. So the flagship, Admiral Privileges, he's going to fire first, and at a range of 10, he's going to be hitting on 4s, exploding on 5s. He's only going to get 1 hit with the possibility of a second. He only gets 1 hit. So even with the hull of 1, which does not cancel. So that is an anchor token. I think that's an anchor token, isn't it? Morale goes down to 10. Disrupted. Yeah, he gets an anchor token, unless you already had one. Then we're going to take a shot with that 3rd raider. He's got a total of 7 guns. And this is where it might get a little ugly. 7 guns. Is he within 6 inches? Yes, he is. The 5s explode. That is a total of... This is kind of an all-or-nothing game, isn't it? That's a total of 6 hits to start with a possibility for 3 more. He gets 7 hits altogether, and there's no hope. Even if he saves one, this 6th raider is going to go down. The good news is, on the British side, that is only worth 1 more morale point, because he's only got the 1 hull. So if you had to pick a ship to lose, but the British are now down on the morale count 9 to 14. The British do have an opportunity, though, to respond. So British gunnery is gonna look a little something like this. We've got a ship over here that is not quite crossing a T. So this little guy can fire here. He doesn't have a shot, so it's just this little guy. We'll start over here. That 5th raider has a total of 3 guns. Does he have 3 guns? No, he's got 4 guns. Wow, he's a little tougher than I thought. And within 6 inches, he's going to get a total of 3 hits. 4, 5, 6 hits against the 3rd raider, who has a hull of 7. So 6 hits reduced by 6 hull. What a great roll. So no damage there. Then he does not have a shot. Oh, or does he? Let's take a look. He might have a shot at this 6th raider. Yeah, he does, actually. And is he in the front firing arc? If we put that down, this firing arc, and sometimes I need to use, look, we're playing Advanced Squad Leader. See that straight edge right along there? He is crossing that guy's T. So he's going to get to roll his 4 gunnery dice, and he's got some exploding dice in there. He's a little too far away, so he's only exploding on 6s, and he gets 2 hits to start, and then he gets a 3rd hit. Oh, that doesn't explode. So it's just a total of 3 hits up against a hull of 3. So 3 hits. 3 hits with a total of 1 save. He does 2 points. French morale drops to 12, and with 2 damage, that's going to be a damage and an anchor. So whatever he was planning on doing this turn, he needs to change his reservations. Damage control, party of 1. I keep forgetting to roll for that wreckage at the end of every turn. Anybody else that wants to shoot? Yeah, he would love to shoot. Who does he have a shot at? Does he have a shot at this guy? He does have a shot at this guy. That is a 3rd-rate ship. He's going to be firing 7 attack dice versus a resistance of 3. So the yellow dice are going to be the resistance. We'll roll them all at once. And within 6 inches, is it? Is it within 6? Oh, heck yeah. All these 5s and 6s. So it's a total of 5 hits to begin with a possibility, well, we're going to call it 4 hits already because that negates one of the first 5. And then we've got 4 more. That is going to be the 6th hit. 5 or more. Catastrophic damage. The ship is sunk. Glug, glug, glug. That lowers the French morale by a total of 6. 3 for the hull, 3 for the sinking, and the score is now 9-6 in favor of the British. And they're not done shooting yet. We did this guy, we did this guy, we did this guy. So the flagship has yet to open fire, and the flagship does have a shot at this flagship, but he is not crossing the T yet. But he does have a whopping 10 gunnery dice, re-rolling the 1s, which he only got 1 of those. And what a terrible roll. He only manages to do 3 damage versus a hull of 5. And he blocks all 4 of them, and even without the re-roll, he's good. So, just bouncing off, man. Just very well constructed. Must be, who built that? Must be Japanese. It wasn't an American shipyard, I can tell you that. The end of the turn, we're going to roll a d6 for each of these wrecks. 6 over here and a 6 over here. And they all stay in place. And the 3 ships sunk. Wait, we got 1 more. There's 1 here that can possibly disappear. And it does not. So I'm glad we finally remembered that. That kind of makes it fun. Now we're going to roll for initiative. White ships get the initiative. The British flagship only going to move 2 inches. Guy, you got to get a little better motivated there, buddy. That's not going to cut it. And then he's going to turn like so. Then this 3rd raider, has a total sailing of 4 dice. He's going to get to move once because he's got that little anchor token. So we'll move him up to here. Got to do that. And then we can roll for his discipline of a 6. And he's a disciplinarian. He's going to get to re-roll any 1s. which he doesn't need to. Anchor goes bye-bye for now. We've got a 5th raider over here who's going to roll a total of 6 dice. And he's going to get 3 success. No, he's only going to get 2 successes because he has an anchor token. But he'll take advantage. He's going to use one of them to move to there and kind of circle around this way. Oh, no, you know, he's really got to catch up to his buddy. He's going to use them both just to come forward. And then, so if they're within 6 inches of each other, which they are not, so his buddy is going to try to roll. He's got an anchor token. We're going to call that a single 6. And he's going to use it. And he's, make sure I measure it from the right distance. And he's going to turn 30. And then he's going to make that discipline check with all 6 dice. Re-rolling ones. He just needs a single 6. Just needs a single 6. He doesn't get it. He's still in iron. Still in anchor. I don't think I rolled for this guy. Is he out of anchor? Re-rolling the... Oh, he is. So that anchor goes bye-bye. At least until he takes another mouthful of shot. And the British are done moving, so now the French are going to go. The flagship has a total of 6 dice to move. Only moving on 6s. He's going to roll 6 dice to get rid of the anchor. Gets rid of that. But he doesn't get to move. Then the 5th rate is going to roll 5 dice to sail. 5th rate. I keep saying it's a 3rd rate. 5 dice to sail. He is in iron, so he's going to be able to move 2 inches forward to here. And then he's going to use his discipline skill of 5, looking for a 6. Doesn't get it. He is still in anchor. I got to remember, it helps if I put the anchor in front. That way I remember it's there. Then we've got this guy who is... What is he? He's actually reaching. He's moving on 5s. So he is going to get 1 movement. Like... So, and I guess we'll turn hoping. Man, what do we do? Do we want to try and sail around the island? Or do we want to try to present? That's the best we can do. We need to try to get our broadside in position. He might actually get a shot this turn. Yeah, he will. So these guys are going to trade broadsides. And I think that's it for the movement. We are at morale clock of 6 to 9, and he's got a shot here. Take a look. See that? He is crossing the T. He's going to get to roll a total of 10 dice. And these are all exploding dice. This could be the game right here. 10 dice. How far away is he? He's more than 6 inches, so it's hitting on 4s, exploding on 6s. And then he also gets to reroll that 1 to no avail. So altogether, he's going to score 7 hits initially, plus these, any 6s, 7, 8, 9, and then he gets to roll this again, 10 hits altogether, and he's finally done. 10 hits on the French flagship, who is going to roll his hull of 5. He gets to reroll 1s, but you know what? It doesn't matter. Even if he blocks all 5, he's going to take 5 hits. His morale is going to go down to... He's got a hull of 5, goes down to 1 for the damage, and then when the ship sinks, it goes down to -4. So he is sunk. He strikes his colors, and that's the end of the game. Our French admiral has had quite enough. Thank you very much. In lieu of watching all of his men drown, he strikes his colors. The British run over. They take a bunch of prisoners, secure the ship. And I don't know what happens to the other ships in a case like this, but I do know that this was a fun little game. It took us, what are we at, about 45 minutes to an hour, somewhere in there? That's all right. We're moving a total of 10 ships around. It really starts to flow once you get into the sailing groove. Once your brain kind of internalizes the difference between running and reaching, things really just pop along. What a great little game. You know, I spent 30 years playing spaceship battles without realizing how much fun these two-dimensional terrestrial fights were. But that's okay, because now I got it figured out, and I got this battle figured out, and I owe it all to you guys, dear loyal listeners. Thank you so much for recommending that I do this. I can't wait to kind of plug this game into a broader campaign like the Bellamunda. I don't know, that might not be till next year, but hey, If that's the case, that's okay, because we got a lot of other things we're doing, having a good time. And when we do, I will see ya. I'm praying for you.